Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tammy coming to you live from my office today. I am live in a couple of places as well. So please say hello when you jump on here. Tell me what's going on today. Tell me hello and tell me where you're watching from. I am live here today, a little impromptu pop-up live, and I'm live in a lot of places. So right now I am live in my personal page. So tell me where you're watching from. Not only like your actual location, but where you're seeing this. Are you seeing this on my personal page? I am a hot mess express today, but sometimes two things can be true. I can be a mess and still need to go live. I am also live in the Hometown Hippie group, and I am live on YouTube. And today's topic is a little more serious than I normally go. Good. Yes, a lovely surprise. We are going to talk about some things. Personal page, love it. We're going to talk about some things today that kind of resonate across all the places. I did not know if I was going to come live. As y'all know, if you're in some of my private groups, I've been very publicly, in my private groups, I've been very publicly sharing some things that I've been going through. And um, I have been sharing that publicly because, again, sometimes my lesson is somebody else's blessing. And I have seen so many people on social media with platforms who have shared their experiences through their growth and all the things that have been happening. And they have encouraged me. So as someone who tends to be a natural extrovert, I felt like, maybe I could do the same for somebody else. That's kind of one of the things that I help myself by sharing with other people as well, because sometimes for me, having kind of like a video journal or a diary and sharing it with you is also therapeutic for me. So the world has gotten really, really, really crazy, and I have not been live here on my personal page a whole hell of a lot, because of the craziness of the world, right? Because of the animosity and because of the good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Please say hello. Good morning from Farmville. Good morning from, I know Melanie's out in Cartersville. Good morning from Farmville. Elizabeth is normally either in Abilene or Crew, so I know that she's out there. So, but I have not been live here on my personal page because of the amount of ugliness in the world, right? So I was willing to share my journey. I was willing to let you in behind. Good morning, Felisa. Let everybody kind of behind the curtain, but in a safe space, right? Because here out in the world, like on YouTube and on my public page, there's more chances for someone to kind of like judge or point or whatever. And this last week or so, I have been having a little more downtime than I normally have. I'm trying to carve out some space for me to do that, and thinking about how I'm putting on my little energy protections just because I'm gonna need them now because I'm being vulnerable, right? Being vulnerable. But I've carved out some time for myself, a little like downtime from the kitchen and things. And so I've had a lot more time to kind of do things that I needed to do for me personally. And as a business owner, right? As an entrepreneur and a business owner, I had to understand that just like I give my KitchenAid mixer in the kitchen there, a little downtime and a little hot like bath every night and a little pep talk, that just like that, KitchenAid mixer is a tool in my business. As the owner and head baker and all the things, right? I am also an invaluable tool to my business. And even if I take myself out of like a personal standpoint, I am also a cog in the wheel, right? I am a cog in the spoke, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure you really mean a very little time too. We know you. Self-love is not exactly right, and all the things. So I've had a lot more time to kind of like do things, be inside my head, and I don't like living inside my head. Inside my head is not pretty. Inside my head is kind of like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But good morning, good morning, good morning. But I have also had a chance. I really have. And Melanie jokes, right? Melanie says, and I'm sure you mean very little time. But honestly, it's perspective, right? It's perspective, and for me, it's been quite a bit. I have number one, I have um, not set an alarm. Not that I normally set an alarm, but I normally kind of have like I make myself get up. I had a kind of have a schedule I set to. So the last couple of days, if I'm tired, I rest. Right. Um, if I'm tired, I rest. If I kind of, I've been watching some TV. I've been sitting in my chair. I've been doing some meditating. I need a little bit more of that. I did a little bit of crystal shopping yesterday at My Mystical Crystals. I shared the sale in the Hometown Hippie group. If anybody wants to go look at that stuff, I'm sure they probably still have some stuff available. But I have been taking some downtime and some me time. But what I'm going to say is this, okay? I have been, like I said, I've been sharing my little journey, my little awakening, whatever you want to call it, right? Um, I have been going through a growth, an upcycling, and I've been talking about this in the Hometown Hippie group. So if you're on YouTube or in that group, you certainly know what we've been talking about over there, right? But just like I feel like the earth, right? All of the shifting and the energy and the vibes. And tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments. Can you, yes or no, feel a difference in the vibration of our planet and in the vibrations around you? Tell me yes or no. Like whatever your religion is, whatever your belief system is, everybody has like that gut intuition, that gut instinct, right? That moral compass, right? That little like something you that little like yeah, you kind of feel it, right? 100%. So I'm sure everybody's been able to feel this vibrational change of the planet, right? This vibrational change. Now, what I am noticing is, right, is that it's as the planet vibrates, and this is just and I'm not taking this from any like a learned person. Like I'm not taking this from any expert. So don't think that I'm like, hi Nancy. This is where one of the things that has been coming up for me, right, is that um understanding where everybody else's point of view is great, and being someone who is receptive to people's opinions and not yucking anybody's yum does not mean that I'm not allowed to have my own opinion, right? So I'm going to preface this with this is completely my opinion, and I'm going to talk about what that the duality of that in just a second. That's what we're here today about, okay? So my opinion is that as the earth has started to change the vibration, it's like shaking it, and it's kind of like doing from like mining, like gemstone mining, where like you scoop up like the dirt, like you're mining for gold and you're washing it away, and you're determining like some things fall through the cracks, and then the gold kind of stays in there and it like looks beautiful and shiny, and they put that in the gold bag, right? So you're mining for it and you're putting it through like a little sieve. I think it's called like a sieve or whatever. And I feel like that's what's happening right now with our planet, right? It seems like the higher things vibrate for some people, the lower they are for other people, right? The people who have not tried to come from heart energy, people who are narcissistic, people who are not living their life the best way, people who are not making good choices for them, right? We know that, I don't yuck anybody's yum. But when people's lives are falling apart, it's obvious that they're making some bad choices, or choices they're not making, choices they're forcing, they're not standing in, they're not going with the flow, they're not in flow, they are not vibrating at the level that other people are. And that is not a braggart thing, that is not a talking bad about somebody thing, that is just how the fuck it is kind of thing, pardon my language, at 9:55 in the morning, right? Some people just vibe higher than others. Can I get a hallelujah, amen, if that's correct, right? Now, I have been working diligently over the last several years between my I have a couple of things that my hands are involved in, right? So number one, I've done Pure Romance for 5 years now. This is my 5th year anniversary as a Pure Romance consultant, and um, Pure Romance was one of those things that I came in contact with thousands, and I'm not joking when I say thousands. That's not me exaggerating. Okay, that's not me exaggerating. I worked with thousands of women. Okay, thousands of women. Some of those women were in perfectly healthy marriages that everything was going exactly right. They had their soulmate, they were vibrating high. I've worked with women who were dealing with personal problems, like their marriage was great, but they were having some personal problems. I've dealt with women whose marriages were falling apart. I've dealt with, you name it, sexuality confusions, gender dysmorphia. I dealt with women and humans, right? Humans, and you know, across the spectrum, and not only in my shopping rooms and in my client base, but I've also helped mentor and coach hundreds of women. Some of you are on here, right? Some of you can tell me yes if you've worked with me. If you have worked with me in some type of capacity, be it from a client base or a business coaching base, give me a thumbs up, hallelujah, amen. Drop something in the comments if you've worked with me on that in that respect. So that was my first kind of like toe back into the realm of being an entrepreneur. And not only did I work with business owners as from like a business coaching standpoint, but I've also worked with people who mentored me. And we talk about a lot of the times the Egyptian hieroglyphic where you see like the walk like an Egyptian, like one hand's down here and one hand's up here. And that's where I've been living, right? People have been pulling me up and I've been putting my hand back down, right? And trying to pull other people back up behind me. And I have been working so diligently, right? So diligently to not let any of my people who I've worked with, right? Never. And then, we rolled into business coaching and mentoring and all those things. Then I moved into my Canna consultations, right? Where I work with plants over pills, plant-based medicine, and to help people to figure out a good plan for them to get off of big pharma if they can, or to be able to raise the collective vibration. Through that, we have Hometown Hippie, Elevated Edibles, which I work with you all on consultation plans. And then the other thing that I have going on is my Creative Healing Collaborative, which is my retreat business that I work with Carly. I do hospitality side of it, moving in to some of the more spiritual stuff, hopefully in the next couple of years. Right now, I'm working with the food piece of it, right? I'm also working with other business owners to help them to collaborate, to be able to grow their business, to be able to market their business. It's my joy to help other people. That is what I am put here to do. I'm here to help other people, but in an effort, right? And this is where the conversation came in today, with the way that the world is, right, with the vibration changing of the planet. And on my board over there, I'm going to see if I can roll this over so I can show it to y'all. I have a little board over there, and I put stuff on there, and there's a little thing written, but you can kind of see it, right? It's in the middle of that board, right? I wrote that on there, and I'm going to tell you how I came up with it and where it came from and all the things in just a second. But that what I wrote over there is very important. But like I talked about, as the vibration rises, right, the planet is basically doing for us what that sieve does for people who are raising their, everybody, honestly. But at this time, in this place, it's my opinion. I'm going to get this straight because I'm going to say some stuff and I don't want to be crooked when I say it. I feel like the universe is helping us understand the things that need to fall off, because it is falling them off. It is falling them off. I'm telling you. It's like the earth is shaking us and all of the gold pieces are rising to the top, right? All of the people who are trying to, and I feel like, here's what I'm going to tell you, right? If you're one of these people who are watching me and you feel like your life is not vibrating high right now, I want to ask you a question. I want an honest answer to this, okay? If 10 is I'm vibing high and the awakening is here, I am ready to make choices and decisions to stay in flow and to rise and be a gold piece, right? Give me a 1 to 10. If you're like number 10, it's like I am when they shake it, like I'm a big old gold chunk sitting on top, right? That's a 10. A 5 is like when they shake it, I might fall through occasionally, but like if they get the right sieve, I'm rising to the occasion, right? And a 1 is like I am that shit that is just falling through the cracks. Nobody wants anything I got, right? So, but here's what I'm going to tell you about that. So people are on different places. We are all on our own individual journeys, okay? And just because if they scoop that thing down in there and they pick up your batch of dirt, right, your group of people, and they pour it into the sieve and they shake it and you fall through, right? And you fall through today. Anything, gold, diamonds, all of that, right? All of those things, they form under pressure, right? They form over time. Diamonds don't happen in a day, right? Coal is under pressure under years, right? So what I'm going to tell you is this, right? For those of us that have been doing the work, right, who have been staying in flow, who have been crying through the shadow work, we might be the first scoop, right? We might, our 10s and 8s and 7s. Elizabeth is a 7, Christina, Lisa, Melanie Lewis, right? They are up there. They said the first time they scoop that dirt out and throw it into the sieve, I am sitting there like, take me, put me in the bag. I'm good, right? But somebody else might be a 1 right now, and they might fall through the cracks, right? They might fall through the cracks, and they might not be that piece of gold today, right? Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Doesn't mean that the gold doesn't love you. It just means the gold and you are not in the same place at the same time right now. The people in the gold bag piece, they have other things that they're getting other things ready, right? They're those people that are putting their hand back to pull you out of that, right? And you just got your hand up here, right? But trust me, if you're a 3, you might ride around in that little sieve for a minute before you fall through, right? You are pulling the 1s up. So if you're a 5, you're pulling up a 4. If you're a 4, you're pulling up a 3. You have use. You're not somebody who should stop trying, right? Should stop trying. But what I'm saying in this respect, right, is that if you are a 10 and you are an 8 and you are a 7, it's okay. It's okay to allow the universe to shake those things, those people, those places, those relationships, those jobs, any of those things which no longer serve you because you're a piece of gold. Does that make sense? Can I get a hallelujah, amen? I am open, ready to receive, and I expect miracles. I love that, Lisa. I love that. I love that, right? I struggle sometimes. The universe has been screaming at me lately to say this, right? It's like, I try to bring people up. This is what I've learned over this little shadow work, right? By dimming my shine and going back to the level that I feel like I try to go to people's level that they're on, meet them where they're at, right? Meet people where they are. And it's inauthentic, right? It's not where I'm at. I'm not there. And the universe was telling me, it's like, you can help people, but it is not your job. It is not your responsibility, right? Your responsibility is to be the best version of you and lead by example. And the thing that's written on the board, which is really interesting, and where this all stems from, right? Where this whole conversation stems from, is that boundaries are important. Boundaries are important, and they're not mean, and they're not selfish, and you can still help people, but the way that you help them is by being the most authentic and the highest version, the highest vibration version of yourself, the most highest vibrational version of yourself. And so what the thing on the board says is that 2 things can be true. Let that set for a second, right? Two things can be true. And that's what's been coming through for me. And I'm going to tell you where this comes from, okay? I have been struggling with the news, and I'm not going to get into. We're not going to have a debate about this. I'm going to say that up front. I'm going to say some things. You're welcome to talk about it. I just don't want arguing. Okay, I just don't want arguing. The news coming out of Texas and the world lately, when I talk about the world is vibrating and things are just going up and down. So for as much light as I see coming into the world, I feel like there's duality. And that's what two things can be true, right? Just like we all believe that the vibration of the world is changing. Everybody says, hallelujah, amen. They agree with me 100%. They can feel it. So as the light shines brighter, right, I believe that there's duality behind everything. So where one thing goes bright, I feel like there's just as the darkness gets darker, right? So as the light, as people like step into the awakening, the spiritual journeys are kind of like multiplying. People are kind of opening their eyes and they're seeing that government is not all for us. Media kind of tells us lies. We're kind of like waking up from the fog. It's like the red pill or the blue pill. A lot more people are taking the one to wake up, right? Can you give me a thumbs up, some hearts if you agree with that, right? That just as much light, and the more that there's goodness put into the world, that I feel like darkness does the same thing. It abounds, right? And so you'll hear about 3 good acts of kindness and you'll hear about a miserable thing. So it's like, I always have this, I'm like, not today, Satan, right? And, good and evil, God and devil, whatever you want to call it, right? We all have our own level of hell. We all do, right? But I feel like as much light that gets put into the world, the people who work on the opposite side do it. And here's what you're going to hear, right? For me, it's like I believe that there's genuine goodness in the world and that darkness tries to combat the light. But if you listen to the news stories, right, they say out of this tragedy, these good things arise. So what they're trying to flip the switch on is saying that good only comes from bad. And I was noticing that and listening, right? It's like out of this tragedy, these wonderful things arose. I'm like, hell no. Do not give that evil any credit. People are genuinely good, right? And it's just it's the comparison and the contrast of the evil thing and the good thing that makes the good thing look so much more, it looks like it arose from. I'm like, no, that did not arise out of that bad thing. That human was a good human to start with, and this bad thing is just a catalyst, which, I don't like to give bad things credit. And I have turned off the TV a lot. I don't watch the TV a lot. And my friend Robin Webb, who owns Solstice Punta Gorda, if you're not following her, please go do. She was my neighbor, and when I lived in Richmond, she lived across the street from me in my neighborhood. She was the first neighbor that I met, and probably the only neighbor that I really loved. Like I love Robin. I loved. Like I love her family. And I told her, she came down to visit me a couple of weeks ago, and I actually told her, I was like, I've been struggling with understanding like the purpose of me living and buying that house and that whole process of the big custom home and the whole breakdown of my life with that house and all the things that happened that brought me here. But I said, I was really meditating on and I feel like the only reason that we bought that house on that lot and that whole thing happened was because the universe needed me to meet you and for us to become you were in my soul circle. And this is how we got back together in this lifetime. And she's like, I agree. So, but she was talking about, and she's, she was an educator and she's a mom of kids in school. And she lives in Florida. And now with the thing, she was talking about how she's just distraught over the Florida school shooting. I mean, the Texas shooting. And, I have a sister who's a teacher. I have nieces and nephews and cousins and grandchildren who were in school who were little. And it absolutely just, I don't live in fear of it, because I don't believe in living in fear. And I believe in worrying about something can also be energy, and you ask for things. Your worrying is praying for things you don't want. But when I was meditating about, like, I don't want to come out and have any, I don't have words, right? Nobody has words. And people are arguing over people saying my prayers go out to the families. And I've seen people get in these huge debates as well. So we're not fighting over this, and fights about what is that going to do? Because people are tired of that being the only thing that we do, right? Do. And I did a little meditation on it, right? And I sat down and I took some deep breaths, and I was like, I can't fix this. A power of one, right? This is my whole kind of like concept. If you're watching this, again, tell me hello, give me some love for a second. Tell me, are you watching this on my personal page, on the Tammy's personal page, Hometown Hippie Group, or YouTube? Let me know where you're watching from today and where you actually physically are if you have not done so. But I meditated on this. And what came through to me was this message. And it said, hurt kids. And you get what I'm saying, right? Hurt kids. And I was like, holy shit. And two things can be true, right? Two things can be true. And here's the thing. These school shooter kids, most of the people, most of the assailants, or whatever you want to call them, who have gone into these schools, and I'm, again, my opinion, not trying to be right, not trying to have this big whatever. This is just what came through to me about two things can be true. Most of these kids are right out of school themselves, mentally disturbed kids, abused or mentally disabled or something, mental disabilities or mental health issues or things. Like some of them have been like mentally disabled, like, had like a learning disability kind of thing happening. Like the kid that was down, I think it was the Sandy Hook, not Sandy Hook, but was it Sandy Hook or Florida? With his mom was a teacher. He told her guns. I don't know. So many of them. It's sad. But, there is this, this push that and I'm again, we're not arguing. This is just my opinion. And I'm not saying that the need to minister or to being more inclusive when you think about mental health services and inclusion and stuff like that for women, for people of color, for LGBTQ. And a lot of these shooters have been young white men, right? Or are young men. And a lot of times I'm like, two things can be true. There in this world we live in this country that we live in, there can 1,000,000 trillion % have been hundreds of years, thousands of years, or hundreds of years of our American, experiment where, men, white men in particular, have had it better than other groups of people in the country. Do not come at me for I'm poor, I don't have white. I don't want to hear it. Okay. I'm not arguing this. This is my opinion. Period in the story. You've always been able to vote. Like there's things that you've always been able to do that other people in this country have not been able to. Okay. And if that's the only thing we can go to, we can all agree on, because it's just history. You've been able to vote longer. Let's just call it that to keep the people from pitching and moaning and griping. Okay. But it does not mean, right, that you don't deserve compassion and love and mental health treatment, because we tend to like stop punishing our 5-year-old boys, right, for things their 90-year-old grandfathers did. Does that make sense? Because all we're doing is just continuing the cycle of a disenfranchised or a less than population being told that, and they turn into a self-fulfilled prophecy. Stop making our young men become crazy, toxic male masculinity, all the things, because, we're trying to make amends for the problems of the past. We can fix all those things without discrediting any group of people. Right? We can help people without making them feel bad. We can lift others up without knocking other people down, is what I'm getting at. And that's a lot of the problems we have in this country today with trying to be more inclusive and all of the things, is that it's not enough to be equal. It feels like you have to knock other people down to make yourself feel better. I don't need to make your crown crooked to make mine straight. I don't need to knock Christina down a notch to be great. Right? I don't need to step on somebody to get my way up to the top. Why can't we all work together? Let's not do to one group of people what we did to another group and cause another cycle of just craziness. And we're allowing external forces like the media and social media to kind of rule us right now. And whenever I see all of these things about these types of things like Texas and gun control issues and all of these hot topic buttons, the abortion debate, all of these things, I have a huge opinion on it. I do not come public with it very often, or I definitely don't do it in all the places at all the time. But we are killing ourselves. We are dividing ourselves. We have got so much stuff falling through the cracks, right, when we shake it, because a lot of the stuff that's shaking and falling through, the reason that you're falling through the cracks, the reason that you're not being held in that sieve as a piece of gold and being moved from that to the gold bucket where where you're unbothered, right? Because I'm unbothered for the most point, because I am living in a place right now for me where my empathetic heart breaks for the families of the people who've lost their family members in these tragic and unfortunate events. But I also live at a place, and I don't mean this in a callous, please do not take this wrong. I live in a place where I believe that everything happens like it's supposed to happen. The universe is going to unfold in the way in which it's going to unfold. Those souls signed up for the contract that they were there for. I believe that very much. I believe that those souls signed up and chose it. I'm not saying that it sucks. It's awful and it's horrible, and my heart breaks. It does not make it any easier for those families, for any of those things, right? But if you have any type of faith in you, I'm not living in fear. I'm not living in fear. I know that I am divinely guided. I am universally protected. That I am vibrating at a place where I do not attract that energy, and do not put myself in. I don't attract that energy. I am divinely guided. I'm divinely protected. And I know that the world unfolds exactly as the world is going to unfold at all times. Can we make choices to make it easier or better for us? We can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to be the light that I need to be, to lead and to be an example. That can be true, right? You can be a light. But we have this, and the people that are falling through, the reason they're falling through is that their effort is to be right. I might be wrong about all of this. I might be wrong about everything. Right? And that's okay. That's okay. I don't have to prove my rightness. And that's where all these problems stem from, right? Two things can be true. We don't have to both be wrong. One of us doesn't have to be wrong. One of us, we can both be right. People like, I don't know. I'm like, I hear what you're saying. And if that's your opinion, then that's fine. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm a work in progress. People say the most asinine things that just don't make sense, that are hateful and rude. And I am tempted sometimes to get involved, right? I am tempted. I know that y'all are too. Like, you got to say something. You got to tell them. I'm like, I don't. I'm like, then I stop myself and I'm like, is this necessary? Is anything that I'm going to say right this moment going to make any sense? If I see people, and I see y'all, I'm out here looking, okay? I spend a lot of time on the internet. I see people saying the most asinine things, the most asinine, crazy things. Now, you will not see me comment on it on Facebook. But if you're one of those people watching who may have said some asinine things, which I don't think anybody on here has, but if I see some asinine things, and we are friends on Facebook, if you and I are friends on Facebook, and I see some absolute asinine thing that I think is just off the wall, nuts, crazy, I think it's crazy, I'm not going to comment on your Facebook page. I'm not. Number one, I'm going to take a deep breath If it triggers me, I'm going to take, this is what I do. I'm going to tell you my process. I take a deep breath. I go, depending on what it is, I'm like, what in their perspective, what in their world, what in their, where they're coming from can make them feel that way. I don't know their life, right? I must not know their life like I thought I did. And I will, honestly, I will copy the comment and I will send a private message and I'll say, hey, I do not want to argue. I do not want to fuss and fight. I'm sending this to you in private message so that we can figure out, I want to know where this is coming from, right? Tracy Frank, love that. Never thought of it like that. I don't see Tracy's message. Did it not come through? Oh, maybe this one, boundary like a force field protecting you. It's one thing I see from Tracy. I didn't know if there's something else. I can't imagine what would constitute crazy in this group. I'm saying, like, I see people out on the Facebook world, like, saying things about, like, gun control and gun violence and the abortion issues and just regular, like, just about, like, stuff, right? Just stuff that, like, is not true. Like, just made up facts about things. Even when it comes to, like, things about cannabis, like, I've seen some crazy stuff that's just made up. And if it's something that's like a legitimate, like true or false fact, like there's like science behind it and there's no question, like the color of this is green and they're saying it is red. I don't know who the hell y'all are. This is red. I'm like, okay, this is not red. I will legit, like, I will take time of the day because I'm trying to understand people better. And I will take a deep breath and I'm like, okay, let me send a message. Hey, in an effort to understand where this is coming from and not to quickly knee-jerk react because I don't agree with it, right? Can you explain yourself a little bit more? Can you tell me where this is coming from? Can I understand where you're coming from? Because here's the thing. As long as the world can keep us not having those kind of conversations, right? The world, the universe, and all the things that are happening, it's keeping us connected enough not to be connected. Like social media is a way to say, oh, I saw so-and-so. No, you didn't. You saw a picture. You don't know what's behind that picture. How many of you have ever posted pictures on Facebook or Instagram or any of these places where it looks like, it's like a picture and it's like, how wonderful is my life? And in that moment, even, maybe not even in that moment, but in that day, maybe some of the worst shit in the world happened to you, right? When I talk about two things can be true, right? Today is May the 26th. It is a very important day. If you ask my friend Donna why it's an important day, it's because today's her birthday. And she's super excited because May 26th is her birthday. And that is true. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Donna. If you ask my nephew Matthew, why is today a great day? He's like, oh, because I graduated high school today, right? And that is also very true. Congratulations, Matthew, on your high school graduation. Those two things are independently separate and independently true. And I will guarantee you, if somebody says today is amazing because it's the day that it's my birthday, there could be people, nope, it's not your birthday. Today is the great day because I graduated. Then you got somebody else comment, today is a shitty day because my mom passed away. Today's an awful fucking day because I got in a car accident. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's perspective and it's understanding that more than one thing can be true and being okay with that, right? In Donna's world, today it's her birthday. That is why we're celebrating today. In Matthew's world, it's because he's it's because he's graduating. And that's why he's celebrating today. But those people could argue that. There could be a whole day's worth of arguments over what today is. And if you don't know what if either thing is true, you pick a side, and then you're wrong because you didn't know all the facts. Right? Sorry, y'all. A little scratchy scratch. I got this little bar here to help. But that's what I'm talking about. Two things can be true, right? Yes, men in this country, and specifically white men in this country, could have had privilege because of their skin color and their gender from the beginning of the start of this country because they took the power, right? That can be true. It can also be true that right now they need a little extra mental health and a little extra love because they're getting their asses handed to them. And that can also be true and not negate the rest of it. We are so worried about being right. We are so worried about only one thing and being, this is the way that it is. And I am guilty of it, y'all. And that's what this shadow work has been about. This is what my journey's been about. This is what I was supposed to come and talk to y'all about, right? It is about solid people, right? It is about the people who are solid people. not getting stuck. The people that are the 10s, the 8s, and the 7s, right? The pieces of gold. If you're a piece of gold right now, it's okay to know that not everybody is, and that it's okay to hang out with people that are. It is okay to hang out with the people that vibrate like you do. I struggle with that. I struggle with having this guilt, right? This guilt, because not everybody vibrates where I vibrate. Not everybody's ready to vibrate where I vibrate. Some people have got to fall through the cracks a few more times, right? And as you progress through this world, and as this vibrational thing, and you know, the vibe gets higher and greater, and the frequency goes up. Um, I'm like, I am a light worker. I am a healer. I don't know how to heal them, right, from a different bag. How do I help those who have fallen through the cracks if I'm over here in the gold bucket, right? There's a gold bucket, and then there's like the little sieve, right? And once you don't fall through the cracks, they move you over here, right? And that's when Source said, you lead by example. You know, at some point you're allowed not to get your hands dirty anymore, right? And the way the information is, it's so hard. I feel, and that it's so hard, right? It's like, you can love people and not live with them. I was like, what? Like, you can love them but not have to hang out with them. Do you have somebody in your life that you love to death, but you don't look, you know, like, I'm not gonna stoop to your level, right? And you know, I've been getting these messages about meeting them where they are, and meeting them where they are. And Source and Universe said to me, it's like, yeah, you met the people we wanted you to meet because you went up to their level. You didn't ask them to come wait for you. You worked to move to them. And what I was getting is that you have to keep progressing. You can't reach back if you're side by side. Right? Does that make sense to y'all? Like, this whole thing, right? Somebody is up here. Somebody's in that gold bucket, and they're pulling me into the gold bucket, right? And if I'm over here in the sieve and not jumping into the gold bucket, I'm not pulling them up, right? I'm just shoving them around. It's okay to get to go up a level. It's okay to up level, right? And that's what I was struggling with, right? That's what the uncomfortableness and growth. They said nothing good comes from comfort zones. And now this is angels, gods, and helpers come to you in all kinds of crazy ways. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago, I told y'all that I was drawn to see this. I'm telling y'all, Julia Childs, one of my guides comes to me, and she's my Julia Childs guide, right? That's how, like, she communicates. I will see a video that she does, and like, there'll be a message that makes sense. I'm not saying like the ghost of Julia Childs comes and sits beside me. So please, y'all who are maybe not on this journey that I'm on, not understanding angels, guides, and helpers, don't think that. What it is there's things that, like, I will see synchronicities. Like, I see Julia Childs stuff everywhere, like shows and cooking shows and like infomercials, and I'll run across a documentary, just crazy stuff. And I'll be watching it, and I'll have a question that I've had that I've been working through, or a problem, and the problem will appear in like a episode. It's a synchronicity, right? The answer is like shown to me through those kind of things, right? So number two, I just figured out the other night, I call it my George Carlin guide, right? So Melanie says, let's see here. I'm trying to see what she's got going on. Let's see. Lisa says, I can't imagine what would constitute crazy in this group. Let's see here. My 23-year-old daughter was diagnosed at 15 with paranoid schizophrenia. There is no help anywhere for her. It's impossible to get her the help she needs without lots of money to pay for special skills. It kills me. People ask me all the time if I'm scared of her. Honestly, no, because she's my daughter. I love her, but I do think she could hurt anybody. I do think she could hurt ever. I don't think she could ever hurt anybody. No, I really don't believe she could. However, when she's having a special episode, yeah. So Lisa has a brother who has some mental health issues. Melanie has a daughter who has some mental health issues. They don't think they could hurt anybody, and I get that, right? But here's what I'm going to tell y'all. Mental health is a struggle thing. It's a struggling thing. What I'm going to tell you that my best thing with that is that you help them to understand that their medicines are important. You also have to set boundaries with that, because at a certain point, and I struggle, and I have people in my family who also struggle with mental health, bipolar, all the things. And what I have learned in talking and learning from me, okay, this is just my opinion. And again, my opinion. And I don't, and this sounds awful, right? Having mental health issues does not give you the freedom to just rest on that as your excuse to do bad things. There's help, there's medications, there's things you can do, right? And I think that you also know, like, if they go into like a paranoid schizophrenia like moment where they don't understand like right from wrong, and they don't understand like, the things that they're doing. What I am seeing with these mass shooter people is not so much that, it is more of an abusive kind of thing, and more of a hurt kids want to hurt kids. These kids, I think, were probably have some abuse in their history, and what I'm seeing from what I'm getting is that they are trying to take away innocence, like I believe theirs was taken away. And that's just, again, what I'm picking up from what my angels, guides, and helpers are telling me why this is happening, right? They're like, it's not for us to understand why. It is for us to continue to spread love and light and to raise the vibration of the planet, right? Our duty is to hold space, for heart space, and to be the light, right? And that's when I keep hearing like, be the light, be the light, be the light, right? And I talk about filling up your cup and all the things. And what comes into me, right? Never should have had a gun. He's passed now. Yeah. And there's some people that I believe that if you have mental health issues, like if you're diagnosed where you don't take your meds and you don't do that, right? That you don't get the ability to have a gun. Two things can be true, right? Two things can be true. We love you and we support you and we want you to get better, but you have an illness that affects your ability to have the right to own a gun. Just like a child who was born without mental cognitivity, there are things that make you not eligible for a gun. I believe that if you've been hospitalized for mental health issues, then that should disqualify you from owning a gun. Now, do I believe that you should have the right to protect yourself? Yes, but there's other non-lethal forms and ways to do that. And I believe you should have those things, but not, I mean, here's the thing, y'all. And guns, and I believe that there should be common sense gun control. I believe that. I believe that we are way too gun crazy in America. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If we stopped talking about guns and the fact that there's the reason that they're always making you afraid that they're going to come take your guns, because every time that they say something about gun control, then people go out and they overbuy. So the gun manufacturers, the NRA, and the gun lobby, they want you to stay in a perpetual state of fear about your gun rights, because you'll stay in a perpetual state of shopping for weaponry and ammunition, right? And whenever you take and you think about, two things can be true, right? We talk about this war on men. I mean, there's kind of a, and I don't want to hear any bullshit about they've been having a war. Two things can be true. Again, they've been able to vote longer than the rest of us, right? We can agree that is true, because based on history, without over arguing other facts because of opinion, right? We can, the thing that we can take opinion out of is that white men in this country have been able to vote longer than anybody else in the population. That's what we can agree on, and we're going to use that as our platform, right? Because they've been able to vote more than anybody else and longer than anybody else does not mean that there's not things that they need help with right now. Right? So being able to, I believe that people should be able to the freedom. I believe there should be freedoms. I'm very much like a freedom person, right? A libertarian, a freedom person. But I also believe that your freedoms are your freedoms. But if your freedoms can impact my freedoms, that's when it's a problem. And someone who has a mental health issue, or someone who is not cognitively able to own something that could take my life, I believe that there should be some regulations in place for that. I believe that if you're not allowed to get on an airplane because you're an asshole, then you 100% should not be allowed to own a weapon. Just my opinion. Hey Mel, would you mind grabbing me a diet Dr. Pepper to there? I'm gonna like my mouth's so dry it's like popcorn for it. But I haven't thought about it before. But she could legally, without any problem at all, buy a gun right now. It's very scary. But that's the kind of thing that's the kind of stuff that we advocate for and how we can help, right? How can we help, right? Number one, we hold those people that are close to us who may be, right, who may be a threat to themselves and others. And we keep an eye on them, right? We keep a little special eye out. We check on them a little bit more often. You know, I was saying to somebody the other day, it's like everybody is so quick, right? We all have that friend or that group of people who, you know, that person who's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm not gonna say cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I don't mean that way, but that kid that's like a little too aggressive, right? Who was never really nice to the family dog, whose family might be a little backwoods, and you think there's just something not right. We all know those families, right? Now, here's what we do about those families. We talk shit about those families, right? Our kids get bullied at school by some asshole kid like that who's a little off and a little crazy and beats people up, and we are mad. We're like, this guy kid's an asshole. I think you know what we need to do? We need to go check on that kid and that family, befriend those people, because we know. And I'm going to pull this out. Is what I came for, right? Is the 4 agreements, right? Take nothing personally, and that's what I thought about with the shooting, right? I was like, take nothing personally. It's the book, The 4 Agreements, right? I'm telling y'all, the 4 agreements. The 4 Agreements. This is my little card deck for it. Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements. Get this book, right? Yes. It says, if someone walks up to you and shoots you in the head, do not take it personally. It is not about you. It is about them. That's what I meditated on. I just got the hard copy book. I got my cards. I've been like sitting in my chair, and the way that you get to know your tarot cards or your oracle cards, the way that you connect with them, right? For me, is that I'll like take a little. I'll do a meditation and I'll lay them on my chest. I'll lay back in my chair. I'll lay them on chest. Then I go through and I read them all, and I look at all the things, and I talk about. And I look at the cards, and then I was taking the little quote from the card, and I was going to that chapter and kind of like getting acquainted with the cards so I could use these cards in readings, right? Coaching with people. This is one of the things I'm going to continue to start kind of doing, right? My consultations. And if we take nothing personally, I was like, this kid walked into a school and pulled the trigger on little kids, right? Everybody's talking about how could you do that to little kids? Why those little kids, right? So what they say is that if I'm mad at you, right? It's not about you, it's about me. It's I'm seeing something in you that I don't like. So when I was meditating on this, what came through to me was that hurt kids hurt kids. He was trying to take away their innocence like he lost his. Why did he go to high school? Because he wasn't mad at high school kids. He thought they were in the same boat as him. He was mad at little kids. Look how free they are. That's what came into me. That's source. That's not my opinion. That is the meditation, what I got from my angels, guides, and helpers. And I trust that. And people say, I don't understand why. I'm like, I do. I 100% understand why this kid did what he did. He was a disturbed kid. He was hurting. And this is how he cleaned it. I feel like whatever happened to him happened around that age. And that's what he's mad about. That's what he dealt with, right? That's what's going on with that kid. Yeah, there's a lot more to come out, I'm sure, but I don't even need to know, right? I don't need to know, because what happened was awful. And what we need to understand is not about why this one happened, right? Well, I want to know what I'm trying to prevent is the next one from happening. What steps can we take as a country, as a people, as a group? Now, the power of one. The power of one is all about the fact that one person can't go out and change the world. I cannot, as an individual, go out and wave a magic wand as much as I wish that I could, and just say abracadabra, no more bad shit ever, right? No more ever. But that's not how the world works. That's not how the universe works. That's not how any of this works. This human experiment does not work that way. It doesn't. However, what we can do is that Each individual one of us can go out and we can change the world for one person today. School is getting out for the summer. If you live in a neighborhood, if you've got friends, maybe I don't have kids. I do not have children. I have grandchildren. I have nieces and nephews. I have friends' kids, all the things. But what I'm going to do is whenever I'm hearing stories this summer about these punk kids down the street that are breaking bottles and being loud and staying out, I'm going to start encouraging people to reach out and to it takes a village. It takes a village, right? His job, Mel. Yeah. There is, they say it takes a village, and we all play it lip service, right? But we have to start actually being the village. If we can't be there for the kid, because you can't sometimes get involved in kids' lives without their parents' lives, it starts with the parents, right? It starts with the parents. We have to, exactly right. Exactly. Our children are lost. It is not the same as when we were growing up. We need to adjust and not be such judgmental and be a part of the solution. Exactly, right? Exactly. It takes a village, and I get it. We all. That's what I'm saying. The social media keeps us just connected enough not to really be connected. We want to send love and prayers, right? We want to send love and prayers. We want to, and I agree with that. I 100% I'm going to hold space for those families and for everybody involved in this, for the country. Now, another thing that I would like to do when we next week, I'm going to try to get some people together. If anybody here is interested in it, I will put an event up. Let me know. I want to hold a Zoom meditation, a Zoom guided meditation for earth healing and soul circle healing. I'm going to hopefully be able to get a group of people. If you would like to be a part of that, we will do a guided meditation. I want to start doing it once a week. I'm going to offer a Zoom room for a guided meditation where we're going to, like, at least once a week, we come in and we do a guided meditation to get everything kind of like back in check, right? And to send soul space energy. Now, you know how churches will like say we have a prayer list. So what I want to do is, because we are not a church, right? But we're gonna have a hold space list, right? We're gonna have a space like if you'd like us to hold space, we're gonna start a holding space like list, like a prayer list, right? And we're gonna be able to use those weekly times to come together and like be like the Care Bears, right? The Care Bears. We're gonna send out that heart space energy, and we're going to actually do that work for those people to hold that space. And we're going to come together, and there's power in number. There's number and powers and numbers. So the more of us that can come together to combine our energy, I think the better. Heather Johns sucks. It's putting it mildly. I've been through H3 too in the mental health system in this country. There's no hell. I was like H3II. Sorry. Hell in the past. Yep. There's no way to get these people to start. Yep. So I'm going to offer that. That offer is going to be out there. I'm going to put it in all of the groups. Anybody that's going to be a Zoom link weekly, we are going to come and do a guided meditation. We're going to, anybody that you need to hold space for health, for surgery, for traveling, whatever it is, we're going to hold space for those people. We're going to pray for them. We're going to send energy for them. I have a heart space list. Okay, perfect. Yes, and we're all taking that Reiki level 1 class, so we'll be doing some attune. That's a good way. With level 1, Carly says we should not do distance attunement yet, but she will teach us, the attunement. So I love the fact that we can do that, sending that heart space energy. I'm super excited about that. Yeah. Heather, would you want to hold the list? Can you hold the list for us? Would that be something you could do? I know that Melanie's going to probably start helping me out a couple of days a week locally. So that's something that I'm probably going to put y'all two in charge of. If y'all don't mind helping me, Melanie, I'll have you set all that up with my Zoom information. So that sounds good. So what we're going to do today before I get off of here, there's a lot more to come on that, but I'm not going to be preachy. I've already been an hour. I'm going to pull one of these cards. And then, you know what? If y'all take, hang on, I have no bra on. If you grab the come here, Chess. The fan out of the back, you can plug that up and then blow it across the floor, and it cleans up perfectly. It dries up perfectly.
I was just like, it looks like it's sweating. Like,
No, you're fine. It's just because it's tile.
Yeah.
So, sorry, y'all. I forgot that I was not dressed in the nipplet wear. Hang on. Let me get back in front of my... This is like my strapless or my... I'm the wrong way. That's like my pasties. Melanie, Carly's offering Reiki level 1. It's a full class right now. I think she might have a spot in that. Reiki level 1. Sign me up too. Perfect. So, yeah. So I'm going to pull one of these cards and then we're going to go from there. So this is Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements. And he says, Don Miguel Ruiz, R-U-I-Z. A Nagal from the Eagle Knight lineage is dedicated to sharing his knowledge of the teachings of the ancient Toltec. Don Miguel is the New York Times bestselling author of the 4 Agreements, The Mastery of Love, and Prayers. He lives in San Diego, California. So he wrote this on the cards. Dear friends, I've written these cards to offer you a simple yet powerful code of conduct for attaining personal freedom and true happiness. There are 12 cards corresponding to each of the 4 agreements. 1, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Number 2, take nothing personally. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, always do your best. These cards will help you transform your life as you recover the awareness and wisdom of your authentic self. And, it's interesting that word was used, the authentic self. One of the things that I pride myself on, saying that I am as authentic as my food is as authentic as I am. And over the last week or so, when I've been kind of inside doing all this kind of work, it's actually been more than a week or so. I say a week or so, but it's probably been this whole entire year. Probably been a little bit longer than that. A little bit of shadow work comes out here, a little bit of shadow work comes out there. And a lot of things. Carly and I have been moving this energy up and down. And the other week, a good about a month ago now, we did this session where she's like, it's not moving. I'm like, it feels stuck. And we had to push this crud all the way down and out my feet, this stuck energy. And it still felt kind of like sludgy. Like I felt like she had been working. We've been pulling stuff out. Like I've been pulling out like these like strings of like bad energy, throwing in my light bucket, right? Trying to do all this work. And I just still felt like I had sludge running through me. Like I felt like my feet were 100 pounds. I just didn't feel like everything was kind of already in flow. Like I'm like, let me pretend as if, right? But I didn't feel completely in flow. After the last couple of days, the crying has been lethargic for me. The crying has been cleansing for me. I'm starting to see the light at the other end of the tunnel. I still got a ways to go. There's still things that popping its head up, but I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling better, and I'm feeling like more of my authentic self. Right? I'm feeling like I understand that I'm allowed to, 2 things can be true. I can be a hard worker and a lot of fun, right? I can and work hard and play hard. Like I have to realize that there's duality in things, and that's what on the board there. 2 things can be true, and that helped me understand that, right? It's that I can be a good business owner and still enjoy life, and that's one of the things I had to learn. Oh, I love that. That's what I need. Like that's what was coming in was community and collaboration and allowing help. And like it doesn't make me weak because I need extra hands, right? I was struggling with that. So we're gonna pull a card and then we're gonna get off here today because I got a lot to do. And my girls are here helping me out. You see the floor being mopped and stuff. At that party Saturday, they came and cleaned for me today because my arms and stuff. And it's okay. I'm allowed to do that. And I felt really weird asking, but I asked and I feel so much better because of it, right? All right, so let's pull a card. We're gonna take some. I can't do a lot of deep breaths. I'm gonna tell you why, because there's like so much bleach and fabuloso going on that I'm like, I'm gonna get a little buzz if I take a deep breath. Inhale the good stuff, exhale the bad stuff, right? Inhale the good, exhale the bad. Okay, here we go. This says, beautiful card, right? Don't take anything personally. Transform your life. When you refuse to take things personally, you avoid many upsets in your life. Your feelings of anger, jealousy, and even your sadness will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. So that's your goal today, not to take things personally, right? Don't take it personally. It's not meant to upset you. Go out and do the best you can. Like sometimes we think tone, we think language is not even that directed to us. We pick up all this weird energy, right? If we stop taking that which does not belong to us, we will be so much happier. So I'm going to encourage you to go out today and live your life from a place of authenticity. Don't take things personally. Don't worry about who's more right. Understanding that two things can be true. I love y'all, and I hope that you enjoyed this today. I needed to say this today. I love y'all. I'm going to go get everything done, finish up for my nephew's graduation. I will see y'all next week. I got some big things planned for the Hometown Hippie group. If you're not in that group, let me know. I will be setting up the events for the meditations. I'm going to be talking to some people about coming in and being guest leaders. So on that note, have a great day. Peace, love, and feast, and stay elevated.